Hi, I'm Bill Mowry, author of The Ways of the Alongsider, and the training tip today is helping people write their faith stories in chapter 5. You know, the Bible is this book of stories, particularly stories about people's lives. It's like this great big biography, a library of biographies. We read about Moses and Abraham and Joshua and Nehemiah, Deborah and Ruth and Esther and countless others. You know, these Bible stories reveal how God works in a person's life. We know each of us has a story, a novel that the Lord is writing. And in this novel are major and minor characters, key events, plots, and subplots. And when we capture the story on paper, we begin to see God's hand in our lives. You know, writing out your faith story is an excellent tool to create vulnerability and transparency in a relationship. When we begin to share our stories, it's like we become an open book to others. We're sharing both the good and the bad things in our lives. And so, writing your faith story is a disciple making tool that can build authentic relationships. So, here's how you can get started. You know, writing a faith story is different from kind of your traditional approach of writing a testimony. The traditional approach in writing a testimony is you describe your life before Christ, the event that triggered your faith in Christ, and then your life after Christ. Well, for many, kind of the sweep of God's hand may not necessarily fit into these nice and neat categories. And so, what we encourage in writing a faith story is simply drawing out a timeline and then listing the people and the events who have shaped your life of faith. This is key. It's listing people and events that have shaped your life of faith. Now, you can get creative, and for example, on the above the line that you draw out, you can list the good people and the good events, and below the line, you can list the negative people and the negative events that have shaped your life. But either way, it's people and events. For example, I've had several key people in my life. You know, my friend Ed was the person who really introduced me to Christ in my life. My father had a tremendous influence on my life in Christ. Two of my greatest mentors have been a friend named John Ed Robertson and another friend named Bill. You know, these are people that have shaped my life. Key events have obviously obviously include my conversion to Christ. I went through a period of burnout, things like attending graduate school, interacting with my sons as they were growing up. These are all events that have shaped my life. And so when you write out your faith story, have people identify the people and events on this timeline that have shaped their life of faith. Now, this is a simple little exercise that you can do whether you're just starting a triad or a small group. It can be an exercise you do one-to-one as you're meeting with somebody. So as you start these triads, small groups, or one-to-one, take time to allow people to share their faith stories. And give them time to do that. Again, this isn't like writing a testimony that's within this 2 to 3 minute time frame, but it's allowing people to expand on what God has done in their lives. And so as you give people time to kind of unfold this life story, you begin to discover kind of the backstory, the things and events and the people that shaped who they are today. We now become an open book, and it builds a spirit of authenticity in our lives and in our ministry.